don't rush through my videos. That's the worst thing you can do, because what you're doing is you're proving you're not going to be disciplined to do this. But I have so many folks that have gone through mentorship on YouTube, mentorship and private mentorship, and their complaint will be, but I watched all the videos. Okay, watching them, that's the minimum expectation. You've done the least. Well done. You got a participation award. But you have to fucking do the work. That means you have to sit down and you have to look at what the market did today after it already happened. And then how's that work inside of what we've done for the week? What's the range? What did today's work in price delivery, where it's highest high and it's lowest low? Where are the trade formations that you can identify based on that 2022 model? Where did they form? And how does that relate to what the weekly range has been for this present week and how we have worked with previous week? And where is it drawing to on that daily and weekly chart? You do that every single day. You will not understand what it is that you're supposed to see the first couple weeks doing it. But because you'll be doing that and you're logging your charts and you're recording your observations and your questions and your concerns and your doubts, and you put that in your journal, you do not fucking send that to me in a text or a tweet or post it on a forum. You put it into a study journal. And when that moment happens, and if you're diligent about it, you'll find that it happens within the first year. Oh, here we go, back to that year again. I ain't got time for a year. Then you can't be a student of mine. Hear that? You can't. You can't be a student of mine. You're coming here with an expectation of, I need to learn it the way I want to learn it. Then that means you know it. You know what it is you need to know. When you don't know what it is that you need to know. See, that's the arrogance and the impatience of this culture today. And that's what I get. I lose my impatience with the folks today. And that's the reason why I built in a lot of shit that makes you have to work for it. Because I don't have time for people that are lazy. Because I know I can't fix your laziness. I can't fix that. But I can make people profitable. I can make them consistent. I can do that. I can lay the resources in their hands the right way, the right approach. And if they do that after they've fixed themselves, they have every advantage in the world of being consistently profitable. Will they lose money? Yes. Every trader loses money. But those losses won't incur to a degree where they lose their mind because they understand how they wreck themselves because, oh, I'm doing more trades than I should because I'm worrying about that bad feeling of that I have a losing trade. I have a losing trade. So what? Your spouse is going to ask you, did you make money today? No, I did something wrong. It didn't pan out. Oh, okay. Don't worry about it, honey. You will get there tomorrow or you'll get it back. That's the encouraging spouse. If you know that about your spouse, that they're not going to be equipped to be like that, then you don't fucking talk about trading with your spouse. See how that works? You sit down with your spouse and say, look, how are you going to approach this if I lose money? Because if you lose your shit about it, we need to come to agreement right now before I go any further. This is what I'm willing to risk. This is what I'm willing to invest in time and money. Are you in agreement with that? That has to be sorted out. Because if you go in selfishly saying, look, woman, this is the way it is. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass. Because I'm going to tell you something. She might do that. And you're going to see how impossible it is to fucking trade profitably. Because your heart's going to walk out the door with her. Oh, no, it ain't. It will. It fucking will. And if you don't think so, wait till you see her with somebody else. Your trading will turn to shit real quick. So you have to worry about all those things that people don't write about in books. These young 20-year-olds, they don't even have relationships. They're not married. Okay, they're out there trying to chase tail all the time. They're not going to talk to you about these things. They're going to be heavyweights in your development and in your continuity. But as a 50-year-old man, 2 marriages, 5 kids, 2 miscarriages, I have endured some things. And I know how those things impacted me. And I'm not ashamed to tell you how they impacted me because it's raw and it's real. And I know that there are people out there like me and have got it worse. See, I didn't have to pay child support when I got with that gold digger because I took extreme measures. But we had joint custody. So I did half. She did half. And that was it. But some of you out here made poor choices, didn't manage your relationships well, and you've created children that you were not really responsible for. And now you have to pay a whole lot of money in child support. Own it. Be a fucking man and own it. Take care of it. And this is one way you can do that. And guess what? You could also become a positive role model for your child. That relationship failed? Okay. But don't fail as a parent. But if you have those things wrestling with, all these failures in life, they're going to weigh on your decision making. They're going to weigh on your development as a student. And to ignore them or pretend that that's not true, you're lying to yourself and you're wasting your fucking time. Because I'm telling you, every person has regrets. Every single one of us do. And if you've not wrestled with that and sorted it out and forgiven yourself and that other person, you're going to be motivated by all the wrong things. And my videos, my teachings, my mentorship, and even sitting down with me live pointing out shit before it happens in the chart next year is still going to fucking cause you to lose money. And because you are weak-minded, you're going to say these things don't work, despite all the evidence saying otherwise. Because you need to say those things to exist. Because you can't take ownership. That you are the problem. Much like I was the problem when I first started. I was the problem. When I was 20 years old, everything. Larry Williams honestly could have sat down with me, okay, and said, here, this is what you do. Do this, do that. And I could have made money, and I still would have fucked it up. Now think about that. That's your fucking mentor telling you this. Michael Joe Huddleston, ICT himself, Larry Williams, could have invited me to his fucking home and spent months there teaching me in one-on-one. And I could have made money with him helping me right there. And I would have went home, and guess what would happen? I would have blown my fucking account still. I would have lost money still. And I would have fucking vilified him then. Why? Because I didn't have my shit together. My head wasn't right. I was going into trading for all the wrong reasons. I wanted to prove my self-worth to my ex-wife. I wanted to win her back. That's what I was doing it for. And you can't do that, folks. You can't have these self-worth driven purposes in trading. You can't. Now, that's a byproduct of being consistently profitable. That happens, as a natural order of things. But that shouldn't be, and it should not be, ever the reason why you're pushing the button. Now, it can be encouraging factors that keep you studying. But anytime you ever sit down, take a trade or push a trade button, whether it be demo, paper, or live, if the last thought you had in your mind was painful, hurtful, or envious, or wanting to prove something to somebody else, I promise you that trade is going to be toxic. It's going to be poison. And you don't get that in books. You don't get that from 20-year-old mentors on YouTube, Instagram. You don't get it from people that haven't really gone through some shit. It doesn't get more real than this. So to study with me properly, that's the shit you got to sort out. It might be something as trivial as, maybe in COVID you gained weight. Maybe that's bothering you. Maybe it's plaguing you. Maybe it's a health disorder that you developed, and it's taking the steam out of you. Maybe it's an injury. It doesn't have to be something on a relationship side of things, but something has, beaten you down to where you feel like your self-worth has been reduced to such a degree that you're now trying to do things to distract you from that. Instead of just saying, you know what, Just happened. Just like it happened to me. I was a young man, 18 years old, got married to a 16-year-old girl that I lost my virginity to. I loved her. She looked like Alicia Silverstone, and she was just my heart. And when she left a year and a half after marriage, it fucked me up. Like, it fucked me all up. And that's when I was really trying to be something I couldn't be before I was ready. I wanted to be what you hear me now. Like, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I shouldn't be worrying about. I know what I should focus on. I know what I'm capable of. But I was in a rush to get that in a month. I wanted to be able to make $100,000 a week then. That was impossible for me. But back then, it was going to be possible. Because if I had to move mountains, I'm going to do it. Like every 20-year-old. They think they can, blow harder than the wind. But these things are going to be real issues in your development. And it's not easy. And I don't have fixes for everything. But I do know root causes, and there were root causes in mine. And a lot of folks that talk about psychology and trading and talk about mindset things, they don't really touch on these topics because, again, it forces the audience to take personal inventory. And they're dark corners in everybody's life. They don't want to revisit these things. They don't want to have to say, you know what, you're right. I'm not as perfect as everybody else thinks I am. They don't know these things about me, and I don't want to make it known. You don't have to make it known publicly, but you have to wrestle with them personally and fix them, because they will creep into your trading, your development, and they will hinder you. And in many cases, in the extreme, they will deny you success. And it's not because the concepts or the method doesn't work. It's because you're trying to do something that's impossible right from Jump Street. And you're being motivated to make decisions financially because you're emotionally charged. You're trying to feel good versus, am I trading the model? Am I controlling and managing my personal risk? Am I following the rules when taking potential profits and getting those profits in partials when it's made available to me? Or am I too worried about being perfect so that way I can brag about it to my friends and coworkers that I made the weekly salary of the highest paid person in your department? These people should not be an influence to you. What they're doing, that's their walk, that's their life, that's their thing. You're here to learn how to make fucking money. That's it. You're not here to look fucking cute. You're not here to be Billy Badass. You're not here for a fucking image. You're here to make money. Dinero. Okay? That's what you're here for. If you're not here to get the scratch, don't come over here. Because the way I do things, it isn't going to be sugar-coated. I'm not going to present this in a well-packaged program where everybody can subscribe to it. I'm really glad that this rant came play. I can't make you feel good all the time. And you develop. Sometimes you need to have a woodshed moment. And most of you, and unfortunately it's the males, most of you are walking around with blinders on. You want here's the technical entries, here's the mumbo jumbo, the fucking lingo ICT talks about, and hey, I'm doing trades like him. But you're not sharing all the other times you're doing it wrong. And you know that's the truth. There's a lot of you that are very, very busy sharing your examples with me. And I can tell who you are because of the level of examples you're sharing. And you're only sharing the ones you're winning. And you know that's the truth. Stop. You're doing that because you want a like or heart by me, and that's going to scratch that little itch, that emotional nudge that you need that's distracting you from what? The ones you did wrong. You wasn't ready for that, were you? See, when I taught people one-on-one, they didn't have that luxury of hiding what they were failing in. They showed everything. And that's the best way to learn. Be honest. If you've done something wrong, share that and say, this is what I did wrong, and this is what I've taken away from that experience. How many of my students are doing that on Twitter? If there's 5, that's more than I thought. But everybody's showing you what? The positive. I'm encouraging you all to start sharing where you did it wrong, what you thought you saw on the chart, and what you gleaned from that error. Because that will be a huge encouragement to the community. And also, it'll encourage me as a mentor, because I lose too. I do it wrong sometimes. There's no shame in that. But you have to, number one, know in the heart of hearts, every facet in your being, when you go in, you start pushing that button, you're doing it because you know you're following that model. You're not trying to replace a bad feeling, a bad thought, or a sense of self-worth. So that's how you should go and study an ICT concept. If you don't go into the content with a clear mindset, you're not going in there hindered with shit that's bogging you down emotionally and psychologically. Your boyfriend left you, your girlfriend left you, you just got fired, all that shit, you got to come to terms with all that stuff. And I'm not equipped to know all the answers or solutions to all those things. I don't claim to know those things. But I can tell you, your mentor, the guy talking to you right now, I had that kind of stuff too. I was not exempt from that. And it made it harder for me. It did. And when I had initial success, I had it earlier than 6 years, but I wanted it to be better. So I changed a lot of things, and it went to a shit show because I wanted it to be really superhuman, perfect. I had to go back to the drawing board. I really had it like 3 years, just really technically like 2.75 years. But then I spent 3 years plus fucking around tinkering with it, which takes you also to another point. If you find your successful model in the 2022 mentorship, don't go any further. Wait a minute. You're telling people not to watch your videos, but don't you get ad revenue? Yeah, I get ad revenue. But I'm also more inclined to seeing you succeed, because I get my rocks off when people are finding consistency and they learned how to do this properly, and they don't need to hold my hand. That's how I teach. I never invite the opportunity for you to be holding my hand, or I'm holding your seat on your bicycle while you're pedaling. Whether you realize it or not, you feel like I've been holding the seat for you because you have all these videos where I'm talking. But I wasn't there when you pushed those buttons. I am not there when you finally get to that point of success. I'm not there. You just remember hearing me. But you did it. Just like your dad is running along that bicycle. Okay, I got you. And his hand is at his side, not that bicycle seat. But you feel confident because you're trusting the process.